Hi, kindergarten. Welcome to Reader's Workshop. We are going to talk just a little bit more about being avid nonfiction readers. You guys are doing amazing. We are learning so much from you through your responses. Last week I learned about mammals from Arush. We learned about Bigfoot from Case. Leo taught us about wolves. You guys are learning so much from your nonfiction reading, so we love hearing it. Keep sharing all your interesting facts. They're so fun for us to hear. What we're learning through this is sometimes that we talked about playing pretend and acting out our stories. Well, we can even do that with nonfiction. And sometimes pretending or imagining is just as important as the reading part. So today, I want to teach you that many of the things that readers do with storybooks, like pretending, can also be done with nonfiction books. And it's especially important that when you're reading either kind of book, that readers pretend. So we want to talk a little bit about that piece, that choice on our reading playdates chart that you can choose. And I want you, kind of like we did in our last lesson, where you maybe pause the video for a second. I put a link to that Venus flytrap video that we watched a few weeks ago. I put a link back to it so you could watch it one more time. And this time as you watch it, after you watch it one more time, remember it's super short, I want you to stop after you've watched it, and I want you to try to pretend to act it out with someone at your house. So someone could be the fly, someone could be the plant. Okay, so I want you to pause right now. Go watch the video one more time. There's a link in both the daily slides, also in the lesson planner, so either place you can find it. Watch that short video, and then I want you to try to pretend or act that out with someone, and then come back and finish the video. Okay, so I hope you had a lot of fun acting out that Venus flytrap video. I know lots of people commented on enjoying watching that video last time and really had some wow moments and some questions when watching that. So maybe watching it the second time and acting it out was kind of let you have a little fun with that, but also kind of helped you to kind of focus back on what you learned from that. So I want to look at our book Honeybees one more time on a couple of pages and kind of practice together how acting it out might look. So remember, I've got lots of sticky notes because I still have my wow moments marked and even my questions. But today I want to look at a couple of pages. First is actually a page where I marked a question earlier, but it was this page here, and I want to read it to you. Okay, it says, honeybees collect pollen and nectar from flowers. So if we were going to think about acting this page out, what would we do? So kind of be thinking in your mind what you would do. And I'm kind of thinking that you might use your fingers and they might be the bee buzzing around and they might land on a flower, collect pollen or drink nectar. But I want you to remember that on the page, it said, I noticed a detail that it said, honeybees collect pollen and nectar from flowers. I noticed that it talked about more than one. So don't forget to let your bee land on one flower and then stop and go and land on another flower, because the detail from the book in the words said that they collect from lots of flowers. It talked about more than one. So don't forget when you're acting it out to include all those little details. Let's look at one more page and talk through some things we might do. The other page from this book that I chose was this page. Look at the bee in there. Okay, and it says, honeybees drink nectar from flowers with their proboscis. So thinking about how we might act that out, maybe you might have your same little bee with your fingers, but maybe you might use your other hand as the flowers. So maybe you might get it into the flower and maybe use both hands this time to act it out. These you can act out all by yourself, but act it out how the bee might be drinking from the flowers. But then remember, he's going to go to another one because we already learned they go to more than one. So acting out can be simple. It can be big. Some of you shared some of your acting out a few weeks ago, and it was so much fun to watch. It looked like you were having a great time learning from your books. That's what playing pretend is about. having a good time with your books while still doing that learning about your topic. So we want you to be able to do that. So I definitely think that playing pretend or imagining is worth doing with nonfiction books. Sometimes we can think about naturally acting out storybooks or fiction stories, but sometimes we don't think about it with nonfiction. But I definitely think it is something worth taking the time to do. But something I want you to remember, that after you act it out, I want you to be sure to take the time to talk about what you learned from the pretending. Talk about, why did you make your bee go here and then go here? Because I noticed from the book that it said flowers, that it was talking about more than one. So be sure to take the time to talk about those things that you learn after you do the pretending. Why did you do the little things, the little details that you included in your acting out? Why did you decide to do those? What learning did you have that made you make those decisions when you were acting out? So don't forget that piece to talk about what you were learning. When you talk about what you learned, this is going to help you understand even more about the topic that you're reading. So be sure that you're doing that. So today, as you go off to read, I want you to still be choosing some nonfictions. We'll leave that link of the nonfiction book collection in case you're kind of short on nonfiction books at home, because sometimes that happens. So we want to be sure we provide you with some to use if you need them. You're welcome to use books from home if you have them, but if you need some, you can always go here. That link is in the slides and the planner as well. So you can choose to keep reading about the same topic. Like, remember, I used insects, and so I had a book about honeybees. I had the book about dragonflies. Those of you who've been sharing, you can keep reading on those same topics, or if you're ready to switch and try a new one, feel free to do that also. But take the time to try that pretending or imagining, and don't forget to talk about what did you learn? How did you decide what you were going to do with your pretending based on what you learned from your story? So I want you to start today, just like we always do, with a little time of quiet reading, just you enjoying your books, kind of thinking about what you might want to act out and how you're going to do it. Then I want you to get with someone at home or call a friend on the phone and have a nonfiction play date. Play pretend with someone and talk about what you learned from your pretending experience. And then something special I would love for you to do to end our week this week is I want you to kind of have a little celebration at your house, a little nonfiction celebration, because today we're going to kind of wrap up our nonfiction avid readers section. So I want you to have a little celebration. I want you to think about all the nonfiction books that you've read over the last few weeks, and I want you to choose your favorite one. And for your family, sometime, if it's during the day, that's great. If it's later on in the evening, if it's over the weekend, that's okay. But I want you to choose a time, and I want you to put on a performance for your family, a pretending, imagining performance of your favorite nonfiction book that you've read over the last few weeks. It's okay if you've used it before, but I want you to plan it. Maybe you put on something special. Maybe you act out the whole book. Maybe you just choose 1 or 2 pages that you want to act out. But I want you to put on a performance for your nonfiction celebration and have fun. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye.